Good morning, everybody. Halfway through the week. What is going on? I was in here chatting a little bit this morning. I see some people are liking the new jams. That's when I'm getting my refill on my coffee, by the way. I am. I saw something about storms in Georgia. Is everybody okay? Because these storms are hitting like 6 million people. Thank you, Mama Kay. That's a way to start the day. Thank you for supporting the channel. Who all is in here? Okay, so we have a lot to go through today. It's going to be sort of a mishmash of things. First of all, I'm going to complain about the cold. It got cold little too early in the season for me. As I've complained before, I don't like socks. I've been having to wear socks. It's snowing in Idaho. I don't think that's a big thing for Idaho in November. Almost December. Almost December. Good morning, Jay Woody. Good morning, Diana. Hello, Christine Roy from Massachusetts. Hello. Britt made it in. Tiffany's here. Marisay, it's actually Thursday in Marisay land. She's in Australia. She got her coffee. Fun to Ski got her George Strait tickets. That's my man. I love George Strait. I used to see him every October at the Tulsa Expo Center. Now we have the BOK Center, but he doesn't come every October. I did hear Shania Twain's coming to the BOK Center. I was going to get a couple of the girls together and see if they want to go, but I'd love to go see King George. That is for sure. Hello, Real Brenda. Annie is in the club with me. I have certain clubs. If you guys want to join. Lala said, love me some George Strait. Jay Woody got it. He said King George. I may have to slow down the chat. I didn't do that. But when everybody's talking about George, we all jump right in, right? I have the I Don't Like Socks Club, the I Don't Shop at Walmart Club, and the Christmas Tree Before Thanksgiving Club. I see Pat has hers up. Look at that avatar. Pat has the tree up. Beautiful, beautiful. Radio Gaga. Yep, the king. The king. He is for sure. Nobody can hold a flame to King George. That is for sure. And his music is timeless. You have, kids that are just getting into country music and they come across the king. So it's cold pretty much everywhere. Bad storms. I'd take a tornado over socks right now, but I'm an Oklahoma girl, okay? So as me being a hypocrite says, how did these girls sleep through a mass murder above them in Idaho? I've slept through tornadoes. I've woke up and it looks like someone's living room is on my front lawn going, oh, hell, we just had a tornado last night and I slept through it. Weirder things have happened. Things going on tonight. The vigil is tonight in Moscow, Idaho. I hope they are paying super good attention. I hope they get names of everybody that comes in like they did Delphi style back in 2019. Definitely, I hope they do. The FBI Behavioral Science Unit is still there. I gotta clean my Dollar Tree specs. Dollar Tree is my optometrist. Used to be $1 for my eyewear. Now it's $1.25. You all feel me? So the FBI Behavioral Unit is still there. I hope they are fitting in like college students tonight, if you know what I mean. I hope they're there in the thick of it. Hope they're watching everybody and everything. Because normally, another oddity with this case, usually when behavioral science comes in, they're in and out. They're like, we've looked at everything. This is your profile. This is what you're looking for. And they skedaddle on to the next one. They've been hanging around Idaho for a while. I have a pretty good idea that Everybody, not just my dumbass, is stumped. They are stumped. Also tonight, if you're in the festive mood and don't feel like putting up your own tree, that's okay. You can still be in one of the clubs. This was very interesting. Tonight they are lighting the Rockefeller Center tree. I didn't know how this tradition started. I assumed it was a Today Show commercial gimmick, but it's not. On Christmas Eve in 1931, at the height of the Great Depression, workers at the Rockefeller Center construction site decided to pool their money together to buy a Christmas tree to lift their spirits. It was a 20-foot fir that they decorated with handmade garland and strings of cranberries from their families. The men lined up at the tree to receive their paychecks. So there's a little bit of, they made their own Christmas cheer, and it's grown into what it is now, a big tradition. So you might be watching that tonight. I do hear there's going to be an update in the case today. I don't know. Did anybody hear? Is it going to be a presser, or are they just going to put an update out? I assume they were just going to let us all know that they've arrested the guy that was reported September 12th and he's not connected. Apple said, my cat totally ruined my tree last year, so this year no tree. I'm really surprised my cat hasn't. She does everything else. I'm really surprised she hasn't. So that's some interesting stuff. Now, yesterday I have to apologize. I sort of got the cart before the horse. So we had a live scheduled, which we did the live yesterday morning for Pike County. That's the massacre between basically the modern day Hatfields and McCoys. The Wagner family basically annihilated the Roden family. So that was the live yesterday morning. I come into this live to put up the background and stuff like that. You guys were all in here chatting, going, oh, I guess there's no live today. There was a live. So people got the notifications for the Pike County Massacre live. And then I went ahead and I scheduled this live for this morning, thinking I was being time efficient. Well, you all got the notification for this live. So people were in here going, oh, she's not going live till tomorrow. Well, I went live 3 times yesterday and this morning. So good rule of thumb is every morning at 9 o'clock Tulsa time. That would be Central time. So yesterday was a crazy day. The criminals are not behaving. Law enforcement has been busy making moves. So I'm like a one-armed paper hanger right now. So yesterday morning we had Pike County. Then we had a live for little Quentin Simon that they confirmed, put pen to paper, that the remains found are little Quentin. Then, lo and behold, as if my blood pressure needed it, they unsealed the Delphi probable cause. So there was 3 lives yesterday. YouTube, loving to piss me off, sent everybody the notification for this morning's show, but kind of failed to mention all day yesterday. So that was the confusion. What to do? I'm going to try to figure out a way to get it together, whether it's a blind copy email. I don't know. LM, you would have been perfect to be on panel yesterday. She says, I'm 25 minutes from Piketon. I went to school with a couple of the Rodens. There's crazy, okay? There's crazy. And every case has got a few ounces of crazy, if you know what I mean. That one's got pound tonnage crazy to it. I mean, they're all crazy. This one is a mystery and a half, you have to admit. Do we have a psychopath on our hands? Do we have just a jealous person? What do we have going on? What do we have going on here? Yesterday, they said that they towed the cars. Bizarre. Everybody's like, something must be happening. There must be a break in the case. They're towing the cars. The cars they towed are those of, well, the victims. The victims. And they've come out and they're like, no, it's just standard procedure. We're just moving the cars. Well, why the hell wait so long? I don't get it. I'm not on the force. I'm not on the payroll. I don't have a pension pending in Idaho. Seemed weird to me. Now, I don't think that the killer, along with all the other weird stuff in this case, took a joyride in any of their cars. I don't think that the target was to steal one of the cars. That's been brought up, that it was somebody wanted to steal Kaylee's car. I get it. Pretty good theory. I don't think it would make more sense to me if the killer was sitting in one of the cars, draining the battery, using the seat warmer to break in and do the killing. But I guess towing the cars wasn't high on the priority list. It's what it seems to me. I don't know. A lot of talk about the neighbor, Jeremy. We're going to go through a part of his interview today. I put a video up this morning. There was a video I played last week. I don't know if it was on Tuesday. Wednesday was a members live. By the way, check the members tab on the channel if you have a second. Not right now, but it was from Fox. It was from their website because it wasn't on YouTube yet. And we all were kind of like, wow, we're getting some low energy, kind of some weird things going on here with the neighbors. Well, the neighbor has other people picked up on it. He did an interview with News Nation. So we'll talk about that today. Good old Joe Vado. He's been blowing up his own TikTok, trying to set the record straight because he stepped in it big time when he gave that interview to the Daily Mail. We talked about that on Friday. I don't know. Some of you have asked me if Joe got paid for that interview. I don't know. Daily Mail and the Sun, they're known to pay for interviews. I don't know if they paid the guy. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, and I'm not spreading rumors. I don't know. But he went on his TikTok and he's trying to set the record straight because, channels like this one have been talking about his Daily Mail interview. Some things just didn't seem plausible. So he tried to set that straight. And of course, we're going to talk about the prosecutor. The prosecutor spoke out and them towing the cars. Now, is it just me? Or do you guys think it's a little weird that they just found time yesterday to tow all those cars? Or do you think there's something to it? Because just because they say, hey, it's no big deal, doesn't mean that it isn't. And I agree with Libcom. The Daily Mail definitely made some stuff up. He seems cool. He seems like a laid back, kind of hit in the side of the head by all of this. Joe Vado, just a laid back, cool dude. I think they took some journalistic liberties. I definitely do. Definitely. Mel, Jeremy did a more recent interview than those ones, Brooks. What those ones? I put one up last week from Fox. We talked about it during the show. And the one I posted this morning was from 12 hours ago. Did he do something overnight? Or does Jeremy have a TikTok too? I have a TikTok account just to, look at stuff like Joe Vado and when Sammy Smith was partying at college and stuff like that. I just noticed today people have been messaging me on it. So anybody that follows me on TikTok or Twitter, it's an empty bucket. I don't ever check it. All right, I've got some people backstage already. The link is pinned. I want to hear what you guys think about everything going on Idaho. Let's see what our friend Level-Headed is doing. Hey, Level, what's up?
Good morning. How are you?
Watching the mystery. Oh, you got your YouTube open.
Oh, hold on. There, that fix it?
There you go. Nobody wants to hear two of me.
It wasn't even playing. That's weird. Anyways,
we're just watching the mystery unravel. What are you thinking? Which way are you leaning?
I like how we do on our phone conversations. I got some questions, and what better of a way to do it than to do it live here? So there's.
Well, how about this? Let's start with comments. Because
Okay.
we have a lot of comments from the last show about Idaho. I'm almost rhyming. Listen to me. I'm not even trying. And then we'll go through some questions and go through these clips because some of the comments might be the very questions that we're all asking.
Yeah, I just the one biggest thing that you can answer later is there's 6 bedrooms there, and I'm curious to know if they're all occupied.
No, they're not.
Okay.
That was an easy one. I actually knew that off the top of my head. I didn't have to look anything up.
Well, the 2 on the second floor.
Just one.
Okay. Was the other one set up as a party room?
Nope. I believe it was available to rent.
Oh, okay.
All right. So from the show on Monday, we were just talking about how somebody probably could be, more than likely, was laying in wait. It's been said by the expert talking heads on all the different shows that one guy even mentioned, he said the house was a target. Now, I don't understand how the house was a target unless somebody got screwed over on their deposit. But anyway, Wist said it makes more sense that somebody was planning, waiting, and or watching someone who knew them than a random person just coming across an unlocked door. If you're just looking to kill a bunch of people, there's tons of houses up and down. They even call it Greek Road. There's tons of fraternity, sorority, college students all up and down that road. So if you're just looking for a house full of kids, well, you're shooting fish in a bucket, right? So why that house? What do you think, Level-Head?
So I was looking at the area yesterday, pretty in depth. There's 3 apartment units there, or dorm style apartments. There's 10 rows on the bottom, and it goes 3 high, so that'd be 30 people to a side, so 60 people for each one. There's 180 people in those, just the 3 apartments. Those are the bigger complexes. That's a lot of people in the area.
So if you're looking for a thrill kill, you weren't short on places to go.
No.
You have the fraternity 2 minutes away, and I'm not making any suggestions, okay? Not at all. But this house or somebody or someone's in it were definitely, it's not more secluded than the other homes, is it? I haven't ever heard that. I mean, I know there's a row of trees behind it where you could, if you want to stand outside in 25-degree weather, it would be easier to stand back in the trees and watch the house.
Well, you got the parking lot to that last apartment building. You can walk right down into their backyard right from it. Where those trees are on the, like in the back there, the parking lot's like right there.
And other homes on that road and in that town. They don't have the only line of trees. So why that home? Why that night? Was this the right opportunity because Kaylee showed up and Kaylee was one of the targets, not just in the way, you know? What is it?
Yeah,
we don't know. hashing it out. That blonde 3 chick says, okay, I put up the screenshot from VSCO, the app, where Dylan posted. It shows 3:30 a.m. November 13th. It's a picture of her and Kaylee. People say, no. That's 3:30 Eastern time. Well, I'm in Central time. So they said it would be 1:30 a.m. their time. So even though, yes, it is November 13th, it's not the same time as you. They said it's Eastern time. Well, I'm on Central time. People have been doing experiments with this. You know, Reddit's doing it. Reddit's all over it. And they're saying, no, it's showing the time zone I'm in. So when she did this, I'm getting myself confused. Let me read the comment. She said the picture Dylan posted at 3:30 a.m. was actually posted, she says, at 12:30 a.m. Her time. The screenshot being shared has been taken by people on the East Coast as it goes by whatever time zone you're in. People that live in her time zone, it shows up at 12:30. Hope it helps. So I said to her, but my time is Central. So when I look at it, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. So we agreed that it's confusing for sure. Okay. I have no more use for that app. Either or, it's eerie, to say the least, that right before, during, or right after these murders, this picture was shared. We can at least agree that it's really eerie. Fine Art on Fire said, considering commercial cleaning is my forte, rock on, Fine Art, especially fire, water, graffiti. I am too here in the Northwest. I'd bet a lot of money the so-called blood stain outside the house is actually just some kind of rusted bracket. Let me put the picture up. Because this was grabbed, this picture of the blood outside of Xana's bedroom has been circulating everywhere. Now we have one picture of supposed blood leaking out of the house. Just one. This is the only picture that I have anyway, or the only picture I could find. Now I heard on Law and Crime, the YouTube channel, they said that these drippings, okay, we can agree there's something dripping out of there, have been sent off to be tested. So we don't know what that is. But a lot of people have said, no, those are rusty pipes. I don't know. Just saying, that's what we're saying. That's what's going on. Weird in Idaho. Welcome to the channel. By the way, we have a lot of new people in here. Please hit the sub button and get reminded. You might be reminded of a show I have scheduled for next week, but hey, let's get reminded. She says, Ethan and Xana, in my opinion, were more likely never at the frat party. 1 hour at a party makes no sense and 5 hours missing. Where were they really? Okay, now again, this is just her opinion. Now, I would think if they really were never at that party, somebody would have spoke out and this rumor would have been cleared up. But, I mean, they clear up everything else. But then again, we just a couple of days ago heard there's a 5-hour time gap. The 5-hour time gap has got a lot of people scratching their heads. A lot of people. Some people are leaning towards, because Xana's mom had a scrape with the law, to put it lightly, involving drugs. They think it has to do with drugs. So let's hear a little bit about Xana and Ethan's timeline. Shall we, Level?
Yes, please.
Here, obviously, Ethan and Xana are placed on the timeline at their earliest point, 8 o'clock on Saturday night. That fraternity house is less than a 2-minute walk if you go direct. Now, there's a way to go through the street, etc., but chances are they're not going to do that. They're going to walk across a field here and be right behind us, 2 minutes tops. So 9 o'clock, that's the last time they're on the timeline until 1:45 on the Sunday morning of the homicides. That's a 5-hour gap. Yeah. And nobody seems to know where they were and what went on during that gap. Depending on what your theory of the case is, that is a tremendously important piece of this entire picture.
So, Paul, as we walk the crime scene.
Okay. So 2-minute walk from the frat house to the murder house. I hate to keep calling it that, but we know what happened there. And 5 hours missing. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, there's a whole bunch of party places along there too. What the one thing I was looking at is all those different little residencies, and they could have stopped at any one of those places. And I'd imagine that there would be, I don't know what the temperature was that day there, but
25.
I'm sure
It was 20, it was 25 degrees overnight.
Okay. So I would imagine, even though it's cold outside and there's a lot of college kids there, that there would be people up. It's probably typical for people to be up and around at 1 o'clock in the morning on that street.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot of commotion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of different places that they could have went to.
Hopefully they figure it out, because it seems to be a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
It was the early assumption, because here's the timeline. Here is the timeline. Hang on. 1 a.m. surviving roommates arrive. Now, they weren't together. But they arrived back at the house around the same time. Ethan and Xana were together. So for them to arrive together back at the home at 1:45 would make sense. 1:56 a.m., Kaylee and Madison, they were out together, as we know. They arrived back together. That makes sense. So where were Ethan and Xana from 9 o'clock to 1:45? This is what happens when I assume, because when they said they were at a party, I thought, well, hell, they got home from the party at 1:45. They're saying that's not it. They don't know where they were. And isn't that the damnedest thing in these cases? They can pull up CCTV from someone buying a hot dog back in the summertime, but the night in question, they don't know what the hell's going on. 5 hours.
Well, Fun to Ski here says Xana and Ethan were at the frat house and then to the sorority house for a dance. I don't know.
No idea. I have no idea. I mean, as of this morning, they said they're still trying to put together the 5 hours. So they better reach out. The authorities better reach out to the dance, because they're the ones bringing it up. Hell, I didn't know.
So when they came home from the food truck, there was a guy that drove them, right?
And we don't know who that is. It was rumored. I say rumored. Kaylee's sister. Now, Kaylee and Madison, they were at the food truck, not Ethan and Xana.
Okay.
They were at the food truck, and her sister said they took an Uber home. Now, her sister doesn't live there. I don't know where that came from, but she was under the impression they Ubered back home. And then the police said, no, there was no Uber. A private party took them home. So the prosecutor weighed in overnight. Brian Enton is there. He's a reporter with News Nation. He's not a YouTuber. What other YouTubers do, we couldn't possibly keep up, and we're really not concerned here. So I'm going to show what Brian and the prosecutor were talking about. This prosecutor I just love to death. For one, I have never, that I can remember, I've never seen a DA so hands-on at the beginning of a case. Sometimes we don't even know if the county has a damn DA. We're like, is there a DA or what? Because normally they just kind of go back to their other cases and they're like, hey, when you get enough, bring it to me. Well, that's not enough. When you get enough, bring it to me. He's talked to the Today Show. I mean, just overnight, it came out that he spoke to News Nation, lots of stuff. And he's really forthcoming. I'm not saying that he's giving tons of information, but he's definitely given enough. So basically the rumor that this could be drug related he is saying he told Brian Enton no. Now, Brian Enton reported that on a different segment, but I want to see what he says in this one.
It could be a while.
It could be, or it could break open any time.
Are there persons of interest and people that the investigators are looking at?
I think it's fair to say that there have been people of interest to the investigators, and everyone that they've identified so far, they've been able to exonerate. Perhaps exonerate isn't the best word, but they've been able to eliminate them as being an actual suspect. And we do not have a name of a person or persons who are actual suspects. That's what they're focusing on still.
So there's not someone behind the scenes that you secretly know about that you're just waiting on one more piece of evidence or one more piece of DNA and then boom, this will be settled?
I can tell you that I'm not aware of any single person with a name that we're focusing on, that the investigators are focusing on.
Okay, so it could be a while.
It could be, or it could break open any time.
So that's saying a lot without saying a lot. But Brian Enton this morning said further in their conversation, which I hope the entire thing is released, he said he just said, no, this is not drug related. They've already been through that. And I just love his beard, and he just seems so personable. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a hard thing to do. I'm surprised that they waited so long to tow the vehicles.
Me too.
I mean, the data on the computer chips in those cars is very, very important. So I was impressed that they waited until yesterday or last night to remove them. And it wasn't like they were moving them to, in my opinion, to conceal the evidence, because they moved them with just a regular tow truck. They didn't put them up onto a flatbed or anything like that. They like hooked them up and just left. Something's got to be there in order for them to do that, or maybe they're running in circles. I don't know.
It's odd to me, particularly since over the weekend, Aaron Snell, who is the public information officer, he said they are trying to figure out this 5-hour timeline. So like I said, you've got cars sitting right there, assuming they took their own cars and didn't borrow someone else's or take an Uber. I would think that they would take an Uber or something because they're drinking. But in case they took their own cars, you think that they would already go through those and find out where all they were that day. Because, right now it appears that they're working backward. They know what happened at the house. They know there was 4 murders. So what went on throughout the day?
Or even throughout the week before.
Yeah.
Those cars, who knows where they went. They should be able to, there were newer cars. They should be able to tell where exactly they went. But it takes time, just like anything else. And obviously, you have somebody that's out there on the loose, and time is of the essence, I would say.
It just seems like odd timing. They were asked if they'd already been checked. They basically said no. They said no. And it wasn't high on the list of priorities. So. I don't know. That's just what they said. Nancy Grace weighed in the other day on her show, and this was just reported in our group. I watched a Nancy Grace story that came out on Fox News this morning about the case. She said they have identified the person's DNA and that it's one killer. Well, okay, one killer's fine. She also stated they ran through the DNA criminal database and got no hits. That kind of goes without saying because they've got tons of DNA. Okay, so like if you came and were getting DNA out of my house right now, you're going to have me, my husband, the cat, and the 4 or 5 people that might come to visit us every now and then. It's slim pickings. You know what I mean? That house has got tons of DNA. So I hope she's not really saying they have the DNA, because they might have thousands of profiles. Well, I shouldn't say thousands. They have former tenants. They have people that have come to check out apartments. They have party goers, dates, other friends. They have, parents. Boo Sheet, what's going on? You keep putting up the same comment. You say, can you pull up the News Nation? Yeah, I'm going to. We got a lot of show in front of us, Boo Sheet. Don't worry. I've got a lot of clips to put up. So you have a lot of people coming in and out. So I don't know why they're saying they couldn't have narrowed anything down. It is safe to say that they're not in the system. Savage. It's a DNA nightmare. Think about how many, they say you lose how many hairs a day. There's going to be fingerprints all over that house. Of course, they want the freshest possible, but they have to go through everything. They have to go through everything. Repairmen, exactly. It's a rental house. So you have maintenance. You have all kinds of stuff. They have to get the rooms ready to rent. It's crazy. Let's see. Jeannie's backstage. Let's see what Jeannie's got for us today. Hey, Jeannie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's up, girlfriend?
Oh, not much. Just listening. So my thought on them moving the cars now is because, this is just my opinion. It was a crime scene. So I think they're almost done there. So that's why they decided to move the vehicles.
Oh, now that would make a little more sense because let's face it, they've been processing this crime scene, since November 13th.
Yeah.
So they've got to be about done with it. Half a month.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why they didn't move the vehicles at the time after the murders happened, like right away.
So it's basically when they said it's not a high priority, it's last on their list.
I would say, yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, it's a crime scene, right? So you can't be moving everything around, at that time. I don't know.
No, it just seemed like maybe there was a break in the case because just all at once they're moving cars. But if they're towards the end of it and they don't feel like the cars have anything to do with it, could be.
Yeah.
And then they don't have to have the cars in a special location to check the GPS if they're really trying to fill in this 5 hours. If they believe Ethan or Xana drived, they don't have to move it to another location.
No. But I think it was just a part of the crime scene itself. And they didn't want to disturb any of it. And so they just left them there. And now I think it's coming to an end. Like I think they have all the DNA, the pictures of, everything they need. And yeah.
Well, that would make more sense. It's coming to an end. So that was one of the last things they had to do.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to look at this clip real quick.
Police work to catch a killer in Idaho.
Yeah, this story has captured international attention. The suspect on the run for over 2 weeks, stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death while they slept in their beds. This morning, police still have no suspect, no motive, no weapon. Investigators towing cars from the scene, searching for fresh clues. That's the newest that we have for you out of Moscow, Idaho. All of this as a planned vigil today for the victims is sparking some safety concerns. Students fear the killer could arrive at that vigil. We have Kelsey Kernstein here with more on this college murder mystery.
Adrian, Mitch, good morning. Well, this evening, a vigil will be held at the campus for Ethan, Madison, Xana, and Kaylee to honor their memory. 2 other vigils also planned at the University of Idaho's campuses in Boise and Idaho Falls. Now, despite the thousands of tips, the federal resources investigators admit it is hard to nail down a suspect or suspect in these cases. Now, let alone find the motive or figure out the motive and find that murder weapon. This morning, the cars belonging to 4 murdered college students sit at a secure location to be inspected for any potential clues. Investigators towing several of them away on Tuesday. Senior national correspondent Brian Enton is in Moscow, Idaho. speaking with community members and investigators.
Also new, we have learned from the prosecutor that they have no persons of interest and no suspect at this point. He says they also have no surveillance video where they see a suspect.
So there's not someone behind the scenes that you secretly know about that you're just waiting on one more piece of evidence or one more piece of DNA and then boom, this will be settled.
I can tell you that I'm not aware of any single person with a name that we're focusing on, that the investigators are focusing on.
Okay, so it could be a while.
It could be, or it could break open any time.
That break can't come soon enough. Police say they've made progress eliminating potential suspects and have also identified a 5-hour gap involving Ethan Chapin and Zana Kernodle from the time they left a frat party to when they arrived home.
Yeah. Do we know where they were during that whole?
So I'm not sure that it says that they left the location. I believe it says that they were seen there. I think that's what it says, but we do want to figure out what occurred between the 9.
I got to listen to what he said again, but were they seen there at the party or not?
During that whole?
So I'm not sure that it says that they left the location. I believe it says that they were seen there. I think that's what it says, but we do want to figure out what occurred between the 9 and the 1:45, figure out who they were with, what was going on, maybe any routes or paths that they took to end up going home.
Police say they don't have any evidence someone was specifically targeted, but they feel the house in general was targeted. They add they don't believe drugs played a role.
Where were you when the murders occurred?
I was in my bed. I went to sleep roughly at 11:30 that night.
Jeremy Reagan, a neighbor and law student, joined Ashley following a barrage of accusations online. Some inaccurately accused him of being the murderer.
But people online have just been ruthless. They went through and gone through all of my social media history over the past decade, saying, oh, he was a hunter back in 2012. He must have done it just because a psychic had done a reading.
Reagan says he spoke with police twice, first right after the bodies were discovered, and then again yesterday. He even agreed to give his DNA if police wanted it. As for today's vigils, police will also be there as some are concerned that the killer could potentially make an appearance. And I know one of the mothers also said, I don't want to have a funeral for my daughter because I fear, how do I know that the killer won't be there?
Oh, well, now that you just told the whole world that the police are going to be there, the killer may not show up. I don't know. The killer is pretty brazen. Have to admit the guy or girl has nerves of steel. I mean, hell. I mean, look at all the oddities in this case. Kaylee just shows up to show Madison her new car. So she really wasn't even supposed to be there that day. Ethan's spending the night with Xana. He doesn't live there. I don't know if it was a regular thing for him to spend the night on Saturdays or not. I haven't ever heard that. Some people think that all the calls to Jack were odd. I don't think they're odd. It's just eerie, and the timing is odd because she's trying to call Jack and then has Maddie try to call Jack. And then right after this, because they say the murders are between 3 and 4, they're murdered. They're murdered then. There's a lot of stuff going on. The house itself is weird. The layout is weird. This isn't, if it's random, which it could be. It could be. If it's just a random person, well, it's not your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, ranch style house. You know, you walk in, there's the kitchen, there's the hallway. So I'm going to assume there's a bunch of bedrooms down there and I can get my kill on, you know?
I was looking at that yesterday, and so if you go in through the front door, there's bedrooms right down there, but those people survived. So like weren't even bothered as far as we know. But then you go to the second floor, there's only one bedroom that's being occupied. So in my theory of everything is that you would have had to know the exact bedroom, or maybe not. But then you have a straight shot to go upstairs. So why do you leave the 2 that are downstairs? Why do you leave them alone?
The theory is this person didn't realize that there was anybody downstairs.
But if you've ever, I'm just saying that whoever this person is, they would have had, at some point in time, they would have had to have been in that house, whether it was years ago or a couple years ago or something, to be able to know exactly where to go. I mean, you would think that you would hear noise, but I guess people sleep with earbuds in. But somebody would have had to have heard something.
Well, and the roommates said they locked their door. So maybe somebody was jerking on the door and realized the door was locked and went. I don't know. The police will have to figure that out. I think, there isn't anything about it that isn't just weird.
Yeah.
Unless there is one or two people that are a target. You went there for those people and then maybe ran across, like, let's say you see Kaylee. She's in town. She posts the famous picture, the shoulder picture, which is eerie in itself. Nothing weird about posting a picture. So you post this on Saturday. She's in town. She's showing Maddie her new Range Rover, new to her, not brand new off the lot, So you have this picture. You have 4 victims and the 2 survivors. Nobody would have known that on that Saturday. I'm not saying that. So there's my announcement. I'm in town. So blessed to know these people, blah, blah, blah. So if she's the target, you could skip floor 2, go up to floor 3, and then you get the hell out of the house. Unless you're coming back from floor 3 and then you're met by Ethan. And then here comes Xana to save the boyfriend. I don't know. But 4 out of 6. I don't see how it couldn't be planned.
Well, and they would have to know the arrangements of where they were in there if there was a target. So they would have had to have known that they were upstairs. That's just my opinion, but it's just strange. Looking at the layout of the actual house, though, the actual prints of it, the way of going in the front door and going up the stairs, and there's 2 bedrooms to choose, and just walking up those stairs, I mean, you're gonna make noise, and then you have a clear shot to the other ones, to the upstairs.
Well, and if you're looking, let me take this comment down so you can see. If you're looking at the house, if you approach, I guess, from the driveway, you're looking at a 3-story house. I just had a comment up. It said the first floor where the survivors were, it's built into a hill. So in a way that insulates the sound. Okay, that makes sense. Then you see the second floor where that window is. I believe that's Xana's room. So it's not where the killings aren't even over the first floor. They're on the addition. So if you're coming in like through the sliding glass door people talk about.
Yeah. So when you come in that sliding glass door, right to the left is a stove in the kitchen. That's a kitchen window there. So the one that we're looking at here, I was looking at the realtor pictures from, I don't know how long ago they're from, but then the bedrooms, like you have to go down a step. So you go in there and then you have to go a ways. You could go right upstairs to the left, or there's a step that like goes down to where the bedroom is, and the bedroom's like down and around. So that could be, I guess, I don't know if that could be the bedroom window or not.
Not 100% sure. I know the kitchen's on the second floor. There's 2 bedrooms per floor. We know that much. And we know the victims were found. There's 2 on floor 2 and 2 on floor 3. So floor 2 is Xana and Ethan. Floor 3 is Maddie and Kaylee. Now, the coroner said they were all, and she gave slightly different information on different channels, and that's okay, I guess. And she said, they were found in bed, But then other articles came out, several, saying that Ethan was found in the floor. Kim said that's the window by the kitchen sink. So that's not Xana's room. Okay, thank you. Now there's a channel, his name is Johnny Law. And I've got to go through it again because it's still confusing, but he put it all together and it was really good. I think he was on Law and Crime, News Nation, something like that. Hey, Bree McGee or McGee, however you say it. Jay Woody said he saw that. He saw that. All right, let me get to this from Joe where he's clearing some things up from the Daily Mail. And then I'm going to get to Jeremy where he's trying to explain. I don't think anybody believes that Jeremy's involved because he's got pictures from 2012 or 2013 of a hunting trip or anything. Lots of people hunt. Lots of people carry a gun. Lots of people carry a knife. That's not a big thing. I know in some areas it is, but people that carry anything, whether it's just for use or for their own self-protection, does not make them a criminal. It doesn't even give them a criminal mentality. But we're going to listen to what he has to say. First, I'm going to put up this stuff from Joe Vado.
Hey, Joe here. I just wanted to jump on this and make a video real quick. Kind of just squash some stuff that I've been seeing. So, first and foremost, I feel super awkward that I even have to make this video, but I've been like not really keeping track of all of the stuff that's going on with this investigation for those girls that were killed. And to start off, like the very next day when they had announced the murders and when they had shown the photos, as soon as I saw the photos, I messaged the two people that were in that video that I was talking to, my neighbor and then another guy that we had met earlier that night who I thought was really cool. And we invited him to come with us to Grub Bus. I was like, hey, weren't two of these girls at the Grub Bus with us last night? And they couldn't remember, but they were also very drunk and I was not. So there's a drink called a Larry Craig. That's like a really popular drink over here. I did have one of those at Corner Club, but I mean, other than that, I was totally sober. When they confirmed that those were the girls, the only reason I knew that it was those girls was because I saw the video that said, oh, they were seen at this thing. Because I actually called the police right away and was like, hey, I think I might have information. I just need to know like what was one of the girls wearing, because I remember one of them had like pink, because the one that bumped into me at Corner Club was wearing pink. But nobody called me back from the police, and I was like, okay, they're probably just swamped with information, probably whatever. But then when the video came out and people were like, no, those were the girls, and those two people were like, dude, those were the girls, I was like, okay, I'm gonna physically go to the police station and talk to the police. I told the police everything I saw, which is different than what I think is going out there right now. And I was just waiting for food. I'm just like everybody else in town that waits for food at the Grub Bus. It does take a while. Everybody goes there. And so that was kind of the thing. It was like, no, if you're ending the night, you end it at Grub Bus. But other than that, I don't really have any like crazy information. I don't know why everybody's reaching out to me. I don't know why so many people are trying to spin things around. And so what I've decided to do is that I'm only commenting on things that are like ridiculous, so try and give clarity. But man, people are really turning this into something it's not. Hey, Joe here. I just wanted to jump on this and make a video real quick.
All right, so that's his part one. Well, we went through the Daily Mail interview. He really needs to be reaching out to Daily Mail and tell them he wants a do-over. He really does. Maybe they misunderstood something. I don't know. I read it word for word. I don't know. I don't know what the disconnect is. I understand that people are interjecting their own opinions of him into things, but maybe he should, like I said, reach out to them and say, we need to do a different interview because this did not go the way I planned. I don't know. Oh, we lost Jeannie. Hey, Jeannie.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, I feel bad for that guy.
Quick.
Yeah, I do too. I'm going to put up his last one because a lot of it is just, reached out to the police. Police didn't call me back. Well, they did eventually call him back. And that's the thing. If the police don't call you back in 2 seconds, it's because there's 5,000 calls in front of you.
Exactly. Yes.
And I just, honestly, if I was him, I would reach out to the Daily Mail. I would say, listen, I gave you guys an interview. Your interpretation of our conversation, pen to paper, looked a lot different than what we talked about. Can we do something different? A lot of people are saying he got paid for that interview. I'm not starting a rumor. I don't know. I know Daily Mail does pay for a lot of interviews. I know the Sun does. I don't know if he did. If he got paid for it, though, he probably needs to call him and say, look, that's not at all what we talked about. Let's do his final thoughts. And then a lot of people were talking about Jeremy.
And yeah, I just wanted to help. A part of me too felt guilty because I was laughing. I kind of laughed at the girls, watching them be drunk because, I mean, let's be honest, anybody that lives here, the whole reason that the Grub Bus has a Twitch stream is because the people, I call them zombies, but just kind of like because they're just people come from all walks throughout the night. A lot of drunk people come there after they've finished their night drinking to load up on carbs, eat food. Police come there that are working late. They come get their food. They just park right behind the bus. People like me come there who just want pasta in the middle of the night. Yeah, it's all walks of life, all people, but it makes for an interesting crowd pretty late, and so they always live stream it. That's the reason they live stream it. So that camera footage that you guys are seeing, the that looks like surveillance, it's not surveillance. It's a live stream for Twitch for the Grub Bus. One thing I did say that I'm glad that was reported truthfully is that I have a little girl, and I mean she's a baby. She's like not even 2 yet, and she's my world. And there's a dad out there that these girls that they're his world, and they're gone. So, and I just felt kind of guilty because instead of helping them when they were drunk, they were entertainment. While I was waiting for food, they were just the entertainment. They were just the drunk people that everybody laughs at, And it's sad, and some people think that's disrespectful. I mean, it was what was happening. They were drunk. They were out there drunk like that. And one of my toxic traits is that I take on the weight of everything that's going on around me, both personally or just even with friends and stuff. And so any of my friends that know me, they reached out to me pretty much right away because they knew that this was going to be eating me up. And it has. And I haven't been following what people have been saying until just recently. Somebody sent me a TikTok video that had the most ridiculous things on it, and I tried to set those straight. And apparently it fueled more Reddit BS and more rumors. I don't understand how people are making this into an entertainment thing. Like, I live here. My friends are scared to walk to their cars. I'm a big guy. I'm strong. I don't feel super safe going outside alone at night either.
Okay, well, there's that. you know, and
Well, I mean, when we watched the video of Madison and Kaylee, they don't look drunk. I mean, they're not staggering all over the place or
I was gonna say I heard Kaylee order food. It wasn't like she was
stuttered or anything like that.
Yeah, there wasn't like, oh, I want everything, and like, you know,
No.
falling all over the place and, you know, tripping or anything. So I don't know them. I don't know how they act when they're drinking or not drinking. So I don't know where his narrative is coming that they were just so obnoxiously drunk.
No.
I didn't see that from the Twitch video.
I never seen it. And plus the guy, he said that you're back again? So they were there obviously earlier, or I don't know. I mean, she didn't stutter. She didn't, they weren't falling all over the place like they were drunk.
If they were, they were. I don't know why it keeps being brought up. You know, they
Yeah.
get Jack and they start trying to call Jack. He doesn't answer Kaylee. So Maddie calls him. So either he's asleep at 2:30 in the morning or he didn't want to have an argument at 2:30 in the morning. I don't know. But I don't know why he keeps bringing that up. I guess he's not happy with the fanfare or lack thereof he got from the Daily Mail article. It's not going to be solved on his TikTok. He's really going to have to take it up with Daily Mail and say, you're not portraying what we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it seems to me. What do you think, Level?
Yeah, I think that he's trying to tell a story in when he was there in his own words without media putting their twist on it. I don't think that, I mean, once big media puts stuff out there, it's out there. And to try to convince somebody that that's not what we talked about or that's not what how it happened or anything makes it hard. I mean, at least he went someplace to try to do it himself. He should have just did that on his own in the first place. But a lot of people don't understand that about media. So a lesson well learned for a lot of people.
I find the media likes to put more into it than it really is.
Well, there's always good. There's media is just like regular YouTube creators or anything out there. There's always what's going to sell or what's going to put the show out there and what's going to get the views, because that's basically that's how they make their living. So you jazz it up, or I don't know what word to use for it, but and sometimes that isn't. It gets a narrative put out there that is not necessarily what you would like as the person being interviewed.
Yeah, they exaggerate.
Yes.
Well, I think anybody can be a reporter for the Daily Mail. It's always a different reporter's name. I swear to Christ. And I just think if you have a story locally, you're there, you've talked to this, I think anybody can submit. I really do. And they're a rag. It's a tabloid. They're not really held to the same standards really anymore. I don't know who's held to the standards, but he's not happy, like I said, with the fanfare or lack thereof. Yeah. And it's easy to say, well, don't pay attention to it, Joe. But let's be honest, if it was your life, you'd be furious. And I'd be after the Daily Mail. I'd say, listen, the way you portrayed this and the way it came out is not what we talked about. I'm not happy. I want a do-over. Whether they do it or not, I don't know. But you can't unring a bell. So the way that it was portrayed, that's the way it's going to stick for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's out there now, right? Everybody read it.
Yeah.
So it's out there.
Well, and also, I mean, it goes without saying, he mentions over and over and over as if he's offended, is how I take it. And I could be wrong. I don't know the dude. It's just my opinion that he's like almost offended that the girls were out drinking or something. It's like he's the only sober person in Idaho that day.
Yes.
Well, I just had one drink. Oh, good for you. Good for you.
It's really not irrelevant at all. I mean, why? So what? So what? They went out and got drunk. So what? It's not really relevant.
I mean, yeah, college kids on a Saturday night that went to a bar, it really goes without saying they had some drinks and maybe they got tipsy, and then they went and had an ass load of Mexican food and went home.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't done that when they went to college?
Mm-hmm.
No, exactly.
Exactly.
I don't think he understands that the bad look is him coming across as judgmental against girls that were massacred in their own home.
Yeah.
That's the bad look.
Yeah.
Leaning against the food truck and, wanting to get something to eat at 1:30 in the morning is really not that's really not a deal breaker.
No.
All right, so let's get to old Jeremy here. Jeremy, I put this on the channel this morning. I'm going to go through it with you guys. Last week, I don't know if it was my days last week were all turned around because of the Thanksgiving holiday, and we went through, and I'll put it up separate. I'll do it later this afternoon. It was on their website, Fox, where they were talking about, they had talked to a couple of neighbors, and they didn't really have anything to say, but the delivery made people talk for sure and start looking through things. So Jeremy's coming out now saying he's getting, he's catching hell from people online. It's not uncommon to have a knife. It's not uncommon to own a gun. It's not uncommon to hunt or fish or any of that stuff. But he's saying that he is volunteering his DNA to the police. Well, the DNA, I mean, the police don't seem to want it. But he's wanting to give all this stuff to them. You guys listen for yourself and tell me what you think.
How has your life changed since the online army came after you?
It's definitely been weird. I've had a lot of people online just sort of saying, well, this wouldn't have happened if you never did an interview. If you wouldn't have done X, Y, and Z during the interviews, they wouldn't have been suspicious of you. It's not like I was intentionally doing anything during the interview or like I had sought out these interviews. Every single time I've done it, I've been either the reporter or someone with the reporter asking me to do these. But people online have just been ruthless. They went through and gone through all of my social media history over the past decade, just trying to find anything and everything they can about me, pulling up Facebook posts from my mom from a decade ago saying, oh, he was a hunter back in 2012. He must have done it just because a psychic had done a reading and said that it was probably a hunter, even though almost everyone in Idaho hunts at some point. And so they've just been digging into anything and everything they can find about my personal life and trying to somehow link it back to this.
So let's clear the air for anybody who's watching tonight and maybe still even has suspicions. So some of them said he refused to give his DNA to the police. Have the police ever come in contact with you or asked you for DNA or had any requests like that?
Earlier today actually was the first time. Before this, they hadn't interviewed me other than that first day, a couple hours after the news broke that there was a killing there. But up until earlier today, I hadn't been contacted by the police. But then today, partly because of all the reports that the people had sent in about me and the interview I did, as well as me going and talking with one of the local prosecutors about what I can do to clear my name, the officers came by my house today. They talked with me. They interviewed me. They didn't bring anything to collect DNA today, but they said, if we need you, will you come down to the station? I said, absolutely. And so if they give me another call or if they don't call me within a few days, I'll probably go down anyways. But
And to be clear, you
problem.
reached out to the prosecutor as well. Let's be really clear about that. So it's just absolutely an abject lie that you refuse to give DNA. You've spoken to them, you've offered it. They've said they'll come back and ask you for it. They certainly don't seem to think it's a big panic. And then the other question for the record: where were you when the murders occurred?
I was in my bed. I went to sleep roughly at 11:30 that night. Woke up somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock the next morning, and so I was just in my house in my bed.
So I heard in an interview at some point you gave that you said you now carry a weapon. I have two questions about that. What kind of weapon do you carry? And then second, is it because you fear the killer that's out there, or fear the trolls that are coming after you?
It's a gun. It's just a handgun, and it's not really that I fear for anything. It's just I feel safer having it. I don't walk around thinking maybe the killer's going to come for me next, stab me in the back or something like that. But just having it on me gives me that extra sense of security, especially now where cyber sleuths may or may not come. They've already contacted my friends asking questions about me. And so who knows if someone's going to go so far as to try and confront me in person, even though on Reddit specifically, I've gone through and posted and answered questions that people had. But you never know if someone's going to try and come talk to me personally or come try anything in real life. So
sure,
I just feel safer having it generally.
We've seen people show up at murder scenes before who are not involved in any way in the story. I have one last question for you. I've got about 15 seconds left. Did you know the girls, or had you ever been in the house?
I didn't know them, and I'd never been to the house. I'd been up to the front door because I had found a lost phone last semester. So I went and knocked on the door, asked if they knew whose it was. The girl that answered said no. So I left and went to the next house. Did the same thing until I was finally able to figure out whose phone it was. That's the only time I was at that house, but I was never.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. I don't think this guy has anything to do with it. We can agree to disagree here. He's awkward as can be, for sure. He's awkward. He's just, this isn't his world, if you know what I mean. Nobody would expect him to be primetime ready. I just don't see it. Now, he's a third-year law student. People are going real life on him. He probably needs to get a lawyer because he hasn't shut up since they caught him in his driveway last week. He's been on Reddit. He's trying to prove that he's not the guy, and people are flat out accusing him of being a killer. I'm not talking speculation and have we looked into this guy. They're flat out coming out and saying it. They're flat out coming out and saying it. Probably after this interview, he probably needs to get back and hit the books, get back to studying law. This will be a story to tell, one day, and just not talk to anybody anymore. Maybe even the police. By the way, can the police go and swab this man as soon as possible? He's begging for a DNA test, and no one seems to have time to do it. So get his DNA test out of the way. Mention it in a press conference or something. I don't know. But he's begging for someone to come process him. He's been calling them.
Oh, I've seen the comments. It's crazy.
So after this just needs to be done with it. I'm sure he's offended. I'm sure he is definitely ass hurt because he's reading comments where people are putting side by sides of him and Ted Bundy, looking up where he came, the whole 9 yards. So I'm sure he's pretty pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Go swab him, please. Somebody take his DNA today.
Yeah, clear him.
I mean, because he reached out to the prosecutor, and if they're saying, yeah, buddy, when we have absolutely nothing else to do, we'll come get all your shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm surprised he didn't just go down to the police station on his own and tell them to do it. I mean, what do you do? I mean, he's a neighbor, right? And he was in bed. And what are you supposed to do? I mean, 4 people just got murdered close to where you live.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be scared. Wouldn't you be scared? We don't
Do
know
you?
where this guy is or who it is or anything.
Does Amazon sell like at-home DNA tests? Can someone get one to Jeremy? I've never seen anybody wanting to cooperate so damn bad. If my kids were in that house or anywhere near that house, I'd be like, you're getting an attorney and you're not talking to anybody. But he's making himself look bad because he is a little awkward. Okay, he's a little socially awkward. I'm not making fun of the guy. We didn't expect Jeremy to be primetime ready for this. Okay, he was in his bed. Okay, Pat K says Amazon sells them. Swab his ass. Get it out of the way.
I think a lot of people that live around there and did talk to the news, people went at them. He wasn't the only one. There was another couple that were there too and talked to the news, and they went after them too. Oh, look at that guy with the hat and the long hair. He looks weird looking. You know what I mean? Like anybody that did talk to the media.
I know, and I do not get the whole because he's a hunter and because he owns a gun that it's got to be him. Plus, he's weird, and I'm like, well, let's be straight here. You've got to have a screw loose to do this. But the 3rd-year law student and all that stuff, they're really honing this Ted Bundy thing in.
Yeah,
If the police don't want his DNA and they're like, cool your jets, Ted Jr. We don't want none of your we're good over here. We don't want your piss or spit. We're good over here. If they're telling you, forget it, we're good, we don't want you, then there's a reason for it. Let's see what Pat has to say. What's up, Pat?
Hi there, how are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah, this thing about the DNA is really bugging me. Why would they not want his DNA?
Because they don't think he has anything to do with it.
Yeah, but they can't just say that. They're not always right.
Well, I mean, no one's saying that, but I mean, I think it's a pretty good guess when he's like, hey, there was some reporters in my driveway. I talked to them. I talked to you guys right after the murders. You told me to just get back in my house and, STFU. You didn't really want to have anything to do with me. And now I have these reporters in my driveway. I've been talking to them, and I went from 26 Facebook friends to now I've got requests out the ass. I've got people on Reddit after me. Somehow people have my phone number. Can you guys come get my DNA? Because all these people are saying I'm refusing to give you one. And they're like, we don't need it. It's expensive. We don't need to run you.
Oh, yeah, but what's $500? Give me a break. I don't understand why. That seems very odd to me. Now, unless, like in chat, everybody had great ideas, unless they already have his DNA and they've already ruled him out.
Well, he went and returned a phone over there last year. something like that. I don't know. Did they get everybody's DNA that lives across the street or lives in that neighborhood?
Well, I think they would target someone. If they had a suspect, then they'd follow them around and try and find a cigarette butt or their food stuff. Like they do it all the time. You see it on, 48 hours and 60 minutes. So the cops do that. And they would by now they would have the DNA of the perpetrator. It's been 2 weeks. It doesn't take that long if you put it to the top of the list. So they've got the DNA of the person.
Mm-hmm. Maybe somewhere in there, because according to Aaron Snell, his interview over the weekend, they're still processing all of the samples that they have. They may not have it. Now, I know some people say, oh, no, they have it. It might be somewhere in that pile of specimen that they say they're still going through.
Yeah, and that is possible. I would just think with 4 brutal murders, they've got DNA off of the 4 people that are identical. So then that rules, obviously that would be the killer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just think it's very, very, very odd that they didn't say, fine, come down this afternoon so we can rule you out.
He's been on their ass since he did that interview in his driveway with Fox. Just for the love of Christ, go get the man's DNA. We'll take a collection here. We'll take a collection here. We'll pay to have it processed. Somebody go get his DNA.
Yeah.
And they could also do they've done it in one of the other cases where they ask people to voluntarily come in and leave their DNA. And they haven't done that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I don't know, it's just very odd. Or are they inept at what they're doing? Are we going to hear in a month from now that they should have done this and this and this, and they screwed it all up? I hope not, but I'm just thinking, oh my God, why wouldn't they take his DNA?
Well, we have FBI, we have the behavioral science unit is right there. If the behavioral science unit doesn't say there would be a reason to go swab Jeremy's cheek, I don't know, Idaho State Police, and then, the local PD, this would be kind of, I would think, an unknown for all of them, because you have someone that got in and out of an odd house, killed 4 people, left 2 people alive. Then you've got a guy across the street saying, hey, come get my DNA because people want to cut it.
I know.
I thought I seen on his, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but his very first interview, I thought he mentioned that he had a knife.
So does everybody in Idaho. So does everybody in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Every state is different. I mean, of course, we know every country's different, but we're talking about America right now. So the way you do things, let's say in Arkansas, might be a lot different than the way you do things in LA. So it's not uncommon. If I go to the convenience store right now, there's huge chances I'm going to see somebody that has a knife on their belt and or a gun. It's not an uncommon thing. And
no, I know, but he's saying in that interview right there that he has a gun. He never mentioned a knife.
See, here's the thing. Remember in Jurassic Park where they walked up and they saw the big pile of shit from the Triceratops, and they go, that's one big pile of shit. This is Jeremy. I'm not saying Jeremy's a piece of shit, but every time he opens his mouth, he steps in one big pile of shit. This is the last interview Jeremy needs to do, and somebody please go DNA him today.
Yeah. Yes.
Why doesn't he just take the money from all these interviews that he's doing? And if he isn't getting paid to do them, then there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's paid him for an interview. Fox doesn't pay. News Nation doesn't pay. I don't know what he's trying to do, but somebody needs to go get his DNA today.
Yeah.
Another thing I just want to throw out there, see how you guys feel about it. They killed Ethan and Xana. They were the couple. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 2 people in one room. How does that happen? Like, now I'm wondering whether maybe Ethan and Xana, maybe they had a lot of alcohol and they weren't very responsive. But 2 people in one room, you think there would have been more commotion or something going on. How does he, like, as he's going at one person, what's the other person not even see or hear? And you'd think they would have been in the same bed if they were a couple. Like, that's just, that hits me as very odd.
Unless if Ethan got up to let the dog out.
Or something,
yeah. It was said in several articles that Ethan was found on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if everybody's been drinking, that's a hard sleep. What I want to know is, I mean, let's say the kitchen light was left on, or light was left on in the bathroom. I would think you would have to know the house. It's dark.
Yeah, I think it's somebody that knew them.
Yeah.
I do. I think it was a rejected somebody.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. I don't think it was a random person off the street, but
no,
who the hell knows? Anyway, that's all I was coming up to say, and I'll step down because I'm modding and I'll just listen.
Well, we can all agree with you, Pat. Somebody needs to go get his DNA.
Okay, bye.
I'm telling you, if nothing else happens today, somebody get Jeremy's DNA.
Yes. I seen an interview with Kaylee's dad, Steven, and he said in the interview that his daughter didn't suffer.
She could be one of the ones that the coroner said had a fatal wound to the upper chest or the neck. I mean, or they could just be telling him that. I don't know that they ever go to parents and say, by the way, we think they hung on for 4 hours and it was slow and agonizing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what he said. That he didn't or she didn't suffer at all. Because it would throw out the theory that I had of them being attacked, Kaylee and Madison being attacked first, and Ethan hearing it and comes out of the room, and the killer is coming down the stairs and goes after Ethan. That would, if they were sound, if Madison and Kaylee were like really sound asleep and they didn't wake up or anything like that, then that would throw out that theory, because he would have heard them screaming or something. You know what I mean?
I wonder not just about, the two roommates that were downstairs, but like I said, if you've got music going, earbuds, you've been drinking, whatever, you're asleep, you're not, you tune everything out, especially if you've been drinking. Okay, that's one thing. But, rooms right next to each other, let's say, you can't be on 2 floors at once and you've only got 2 arms. You're stabbing with one hand. So how do you not wake up the person in the next room unless it was just an instant shot? I don't know. Somebody's good because they got right in the house, right out undetected, and 4 people. 4 people. That's insane.
It would be exhausting for this killer as well. I mean, if it was a rage killing, I mean, by killing just one person, they would be exhausted. With having had so much rage in them.
Well, and don't rule out a female. I know some people are like, no way it can be a woman. Don't rule out a female.
Look at Jodi Arias.
I mean, Travis was like twice her size.
Yeah.
And I mean, she got him. I mean, she hacked him like 72 times.
Yep. Yep. And I found it interesting that Kaylee's dad also mentioned about the unconscious person. From what he had said was that they were, the 2 roommates that survived did text and message and call Kaylee and Madison, and neither one of them were answering. And he said that's unusual for Kaylee because she always answers her phone. And they didn't get a response from either of them. So this is where the unconscious person comes in.
So because she didn't answer her phone, they're saying that's what the 911 call was about? Because I've heard about 50 rumors about this 911 call.
Well, according to her father, Kaylee's father, he had mentioned that the 2 roommates called Kaylee and Madison that morning and nobody responded back. So they found that very unusual.
They have this section in the press release that they did yesterday of them removing the cars, that the surviving roommates summoned friends to the residence because they believed one of the second-floor victims had passed out and was not waking up at 11:58 a.m. A 911 call requested aid for an unconscious person. The call was made from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones inside the residence. Multiple people talked with 911 dispatcher before Moscow police arrived. Officers entered the residence and found the 2 victims on the 2nd floor and 2 victims on the 3rd floor. So who's the unconscious person? I don't know.
I would say
It's bothering
Ethan.
me.
I mean, I would say Ethan because from what I've seen, he was found on the 2nd floor. But
it makes more sense to me that one of the roommates woke up. I'm just saying what makes sense to me. I'm not saying this is what happened. And I know a lot of people they're taking things that they see in Facebook groups and Reddit, and they're saying that that's what happened. There's nothing verified. So it might be interesting, but that's really just someone's theory. Now, this has been in several publications. One of the victims, understood to be 20-year-old Ethan, was discovered on the floor of the 2nd level of the 3-story home. It just makes sense to me, since he was on the floor, not behind a locked door, not in bed, that somebody came across Ethan and obviously didn't call 911, but maybe reached out to one of his siblings first. And then we have the whole gang comes over. And we start making the panic calls to 911 because they said they talked to many people at once. Then there's a rumor that the unconscious person was a roommate that they passed out when they saw Ethan. Well, would your phone call to the friends be about Ethan being dead on the floor or the roommate that passed out? You tell me. I don't know. I wasn't there. I would pass out too. I would either pass out or be like, you guys are on your own, and I'd take off running to Jeremy's house. And be like, Jeremy, get your DNA and your gun. You don't even know what the hell is going on over there.
Oh my God.
God, no, I wouldn't stick around.
I think what her dad was, what he meant was that the roommate came upstairs, seen the unconscious person, then called Kaylee and Madison, and weren't getting any answer from them. So then they went and called their friends over to find out what's going on with this unconscious person.
Well, but why put it into your press release on a from the police department? Why put that? I read it right from their press release from it's been in there the last couple days, but it doesn't make any sense. So multiple people, so that's more than a couple. So there's obviously 3 people talk to them. So you're just going to run outside and go grab people to, I get it, you're in shock or whatever because you see stuff, but you're going to talk about an unconscious person instead of somebody that was stabbed. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand why.
I just think that's how it was. Like I said, something got lost in translation here. I don't believe anyone, called 911 and said, I'd like to report an unconscious person, and then handed it to the next friend, then the next friend, then the next friend, because they said multiple people were on that 911 call. I can just imagine the chaos and confusion. So how it got relayed, I don't know, but I would love to know what they really said. So here's what the chief said when they were asking who called, what really went down.
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but if you used the roommate's phone, so was there someone else at the home other than those roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many? Everybody at the call?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in.
Okay, so the look on his face when they say how many friends, and his eyes get real big, we're not really sure. It's kind of like when it hit the airwaves, then it was probably a lot of people showed up. It's just my guess, my uneducated guess, that if somebody came across Ethan first, they reached out to one of his siblings. That's just
that's what I was thinking. That would make the most sense. is that they would have called or messaged Ethan's brother or sister.
I have a thought on it is that what if the two girls that were downstairs or the two roommates that are downstairs, what if they were meeting up with somebody, a couple other friends to go someplace at 12 o'clock and they happened to show up a little early and that's when they discovered everything? Because you're down on the first floor, so you would just normally leave out, but maybe they went up to get a water bottle or something to leave for the day. There's just a thought.
Yeah.
And that's how they discovered everything. Because, I mean, living down in the bottom, you just walk right out and go to your car and leave. But if you needed something from the fridge or something, that would be upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's a good assumption to say that one or both of Ethan's siblings, because he's a triplet, or it doesn't matter if he's a triplet, his siblings are there, were alerted first because this came out, I believe, on Friday. They were killed while residing in the rental home on King Road, close to the University of Idaho, Moscow. Ethan's parents notified the police that their son had been fatally stabbed. So the siblings got a hold of mom and dad back in Washington and said, I got a call from Dylan or Bethany or whoever. Could have been Jeremy. Jeremy was there delivering the papers. I don't know. And they said, and I don't get that rumor started. God, no. And mom, dad, this Ethan, because they called the police. His parents called the police.
Yes,
it's a good assumption to make.
Yeah, one of the family, Ethan's brother or sister did call his parents first, and they end up calling the police. Yeah. So this is why I'm thinking that maybe one of the roommates called or messaged his brother or sister.
And Jeremy, if you're listening, under $40 today, you can take your own DNA test and turn it in today. I'm sure you can take it right to a lab and they'll process it immediately.
I really, if I could figure out a way to get him $40, I'd do it, because he's like, and I keep calling him. I keep calling. Well, they just don't find a reason.
No. So in all, that would kind of make sense that Ethan was the one on the second floor, like out in the open. It would make sense.
Jay, what are you saying? You keep saying they caught someone. I just looked on Twitter. I looked on Google. Where are you hearing that someone they have a suspect or they caught someone? I'm not seeing anything anywhere that there's a suspect or anything. I'm looking on News Nation, their Twitter, the local station in Idaho. There's Brian Enton. Brian Enton again. He's all over this. He's kind of late to the party, but he's all over it. They're still talking about Kaylee's dad. That's from Daily Mail saying she didn't suffer. Then about the stalker. Somebody just posted about the cars being towed yesterday. I don't know.
I thought I read also or heard in one of the news conference, or not the media, that Kaylee and Madison got a drive from one of they have, like, on campus, they have drivers to go pick students up, or that's what I thought I read or heard.
I don't know. They said a private party drove him home. I don't know. They're keeping that to the vest. Good idea, because look what happened to Jeremy when he walked out to check his mail and had reporters in his driveway.
Yeah. There's a memorial today, for they're having a memorial today for them, for all of them.
Tonight is the vigil, and like I said, I kept saying, I said, I really hope behavioral science is there watching everybody. I hope they do it Delphi style. like they did the New Direction press conference back in 2019 when they had everybody sign in. Of course, it's going to be outside. That might be kind of hard to organize. Anyway, just my idea, just my 2 cents. And then on News Nation, they're like, and the police are going to be there. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of police there, not dressed in uniform, but undercover police.
And that's not going to scare a killer off. Not this one. This person is brazen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think they're still not going to be sitting there. They'll show up with a bandaged hand if they want to, holding a candle and everything. They'll volunteer to hand out flyers or pamphlets. They'll be like, do you have the tip line in your phone? Here, I've got it. This person, somebody's proud of what they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is if whoever the killer is here, even if they had a phone, you have all those residents that were like around there. So like even it bouncing off of somebody's router or trying to connect to Wi-Fi, or I mean, there's a lot of different phones there. That's going to be a process. And that's just like the DNA at the house. That's going to be a process too, because how many people are in and out of that house? We don't know. Like,
well, they've had this scheduled for quite a while. It's not like this is just a pop-up thing. They've had this scheduled. So I'm going to just take a guess here that they are they've got some sort of organization behind the scene going that they can profile the crowd.
I believe if the guy or girl is still in that area, they will go there. They will show up there.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that the news keeps saying that, like I've been watching for a while, and that they keep pointing it out as a male. And I just find it like it's mind-blowing that they can come to that conclusion without any proof of anything. And I don't know. It's something that I sit there and think about, like, how do you get the to that conclusion and just assume that it was a male that did it?
Yeah. And how do they know the timeline between 3 and 4 that it happened? Like, how come it's not any longer than 4 o'clock, or is it? Like, I haven't seen it anywhere longer than 4.
I would say based off of, they can tell a lot by a crime scene and by the coroner or the medical examiners, like their autopsies and like when they actually passed away.
Yeah.
So
because it was like 9 hours later, right? It was 9 hours later that anybody's seen them.
Well, they said that they can see it's between 3 and 4, but remember, this is the coroner talking. It's not the medical examiner. He's going to know who died when.
Yes. That would be the medical examiner. He would know.
Yeah, I'd rather hear from the medical examiner. And he or she isn't saying anything. We've just heard from the coroner, who said, well, I think they were all in bed. We don't know who died first. Well, they're going to know who died first. They're going to know the order. The medical examiner can tell that.
Oh, definitely.
Well, guys, this has been a very interesting conversation. I hope that Jeremy gets his DNA test today. I do.
God. We should all pitch in and send him $40.
If they don't want it, they don't want it. But if it makes him feel better, go for it.
Yeah.
So, and as far as the arrest from the guy September 12th, they already think that is not related to this case. The dog that was killed, which is horrific and awful, disgusting, they don't think it's related. The unsolved murder in Oregon, they don't think it's related. So I think that they are they're puzzled. They're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming up. It's been almost 2 hours. But hey, time flies with interesting people. We have super cool people here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Brooks.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Let's see. I'm going to catch up on chat real quick. There was a comment I missed. Okay, Thomas Randall, I did see your comment. I apologize that I didn't put it up on the screen. Tanya said, love it here. I love it here too. What did I miss? Let's blame Jeremy just for fun. He would crawl out of his skin. I have a feeling when he started seeing comments where people were flat out saying he did it, then, well, we know what happened. I'd be begging for my DNA too, though. I'd be like, can you guys come? I know you're super busy processing this house and a quadruple murder, but these people are saying I did it. I know you guys don't think so, but can you just for good measure come clear me? Oh, you're too busy? Well, hell, what do I do then? I guess I'll go talk to News Nation and make it worse. I mean, that's kind of what's going on here. Goodness. All right, guys, you are the absolute best. I don't have any other shows planned today. I'm going to get to real life, not real life on Jeremy or anything like that, but my real life. And I will be back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. There's supposed to be an update sometime today. When I find out more about that, I'll post in the Facebook group, Discord, the community tab, and knock on wood, you never know, I might pop back in. But anyway, you guys are the absolute best. Hands down, you are the best chat and best community on YouTube. So, by the way, check out the members tab if you have time. Not anything pressing, just if you get time, check out the members tab on the channel. So, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Thanks for a great conversation and just being you. See you later.